cleaning up this Columbian vise. I'm going to make a mount over here, something like that. So right now I just polished up the locking bolt for the base, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the mill this off flat, because it's just a casting. Same thing on the bottom here, and then true this up, and we'll see how how carried away we get here. Just notice that we have this crack here, although it's not really under stress. The pressure is going to be this way on the jaw. This probably happened from somebody hammering on something that was in the vise. So I think I'm just going to leave it. I mean, this is just a utility vise, not my primary one, so I don't know that it warrants getting that involved, trying to braze that up. So anyways, we'll see what happens. Okay, still cleaning up this vise. Had to add a washer to the center bolt after truing up the faces on the rotary base. Lost some material, so the washer made up for that difference. And then I had to spend a few minutes with the Dremel tool and a file to clean up this trunnion. The trunnion way is just cast into the base, and it had a lot of burrs, casting flash, and so forth. But big improvement, and the base is sitting on here nice and flat now. So that'll really make it more user-friendly. The last thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to drill and tap maybe 3 places here for a drop-in bolt. I don't know how it is for the rest of you guys, but whenever you have one of these swivel vices and you're really cranking on something, it doesn't seem like you can get the lock bolt tight enough, and you end up the vise turns on you while you're trying to break a bolt loose or torque on whatever you're working on. So that'll be the next step. Okay, so here's my setup, getting ready to drill the swivel base on the vise body. I found a 3/8. This is an exhaust bolt for a header bolt, grade 5. That should work really good, because you get a little additional clearance space with this type of a bolt. Just use the 7/16 hex. So I've got it's not one of those long drill bits, but it's longer than a jobber. It's about an 8-inch long drill bit, and I got a center punch mark there. I'm just gonna. This is the 5/16, so it's the tap size. So I'm going to drill through the vise body and also into and through the swivel base. And I've got my stop set up here on the quill so that I won't drill into the table. Don't worry about that, guys. So this is the straightaway position, and I'll probably also do a 90-degree position, or maybe a 45-degree position in each direction of rotation. So let me get this drilled and get back to you. Okay, I got the straightaway position hole drilled, and now I'm set up to do a 45 rotated to the left position. Got the drill lined up here. This time all I'm doing is drilling through the swivel base. So it was an easy decision whether or not to use a 90-degree or 45-degree position. The way the trunnion is cast, it doesn't travel a full 90 degrees. So we're going to 45. And I just I went off the vise jaw. and I just held up a combination square and eyeballed it with the slot on the mill table. That's close enough. It's just a utility vise for the bench. We're not building an aircraft part here. I don't know where I got this drill bit, but it came magnetized. So nothing like having a fur ball on the end of your drill when you're trying to see what's going on. Okay guys, here's how it looks with everything drilled and tapped. I did make an allowance for the shoulder on here, but why? I didn't give myself much leeway, so but we're okay. We just made it. All right, so the way this goes together. Okay, well there it is, all back together. Ready to go to work. All right, I just checked the temperature. It's 95 degrees out here. I just had a whole bottle of Gatorade. So I'm gonna go in the house, take a break for a while. I might come out a little later and start working on the mount. Hey guys, we're back on the receiver vise project. So I cut out this plate out of some scrap we had laying around. It's a 1/4 inch plate. We got our whole pattern drilled in there, plus a few auxiliary holes. So the vise is going to mount. If I can get it. There you go. And then over here on the workbench, this is probably a couple months ago, I put this receiver mount here in the bench. And I've got a lot of 2x2 steel tubing. So I just grabbed a piece out of the rack that was about the right length, cleaned it up a little bit. And what we're going to do, we're going to weld this plate on. I'm going to let it hang over a little bit, maybe like that, just so we don't see the end of the tube. I'm going to weld her on there. That bolt hole will be drilled through, and I think there's enough room here to reach through to get the nut started. If not, I'll just put a access hole on the bottom of the tube. So then after that, well before that, I've got to drill a series of holes here for the securing bolt. And when I made the mount, I welded some nuts on the back side that you can't see. They're recessed in, so you don't have to try to get one of those big hairpins in there like you do on a trailer hitch. So, all right, well I'm going to lay out these holes and drill them on the Bridgeport. I'm probably going to put quite a few in, so I have options on various working locations. And I think I'm even going to put a couple in case I want to rotate this 90 degrees to have the vise on its side. If you're trying to support something off the floor and hold it, that might be a handy feature. So let me get set up in the Bridgeport and I'll bring you back. Okay, getting ready to drill. Set up on center, so all I got to do is just keep moving this down. This is the top. I want to drill this 3/8 hole first so I don't mess up and pull a bozo and drill it the wrong size. And lucked out here. And yes, a machinist jack project is coming up relatively soon. Hey, I didn't want to bore everybody with this repetitive drilling process. So anyways, got one more hole to go here. Just pilot drilling with this spotting drill, and then switching over to the 5/8. It's kind of a pain in the butt because I've got to go in back gears with the 5/8 and the direct drive with the 1/4 inch spotting drill. So a lot of repetitive action. So anyways, one more to go, and then we'll be ready to set up for welding. Okay, I think I'm done for today. So we're all drilled, chamfered, deburred till I'm tired. Even sanded a little bit. So that's going to bolt on there, and what I'm going to use is a strut nut underneath here, so I'll be able to slip that in with a pair of needle nose pliers and get that started. These are great for that type of application. Not sure on the welding yet what I'm going to do here. Let me lay this out for you. That's going to go like that. That's going to be on there something like that. Okay, so I'm definitely going to run a bead across here. But what will happen if I put a heavy bead in along here on both sides, it's going to want to pull and warp this plate. And the base on the vise is cast iron, and if the plate's not flat and you tighten down the mounting bolts, could crack the base. Plus, it's just, you don't want that anyways, having a warped base. So I might cut a couple little tabs of angle iron and just fit them in here. That way I can weld probably the plate first. Weld them to the plate, let it cool, and then finish welding to the side of the tube here. So still got to figure that out. So that'll be tomorrow. Okay, I'm done for the day. Okay, so I've got this bracket that I bolt to the workbench when I'm working on those marine transmissions. Holds the transmission by the output shaft. So what I'm thinking of doing, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to weld an extra coupling on here, and that'll give me another mounting option. I'm sure that's in frame here. Yeah, okay. That'll give me another work location for when I'm working on those things. So I think we'll do that. I'll do that off camera, and then we're going to paint everything up and do the final assembly. Of course, the last weld of the day is always the best one. I did change rods, though. This is 60-13, where the other ones were all 70-18. So 60-13 is pretty forgiving, especially for an occasional welder like myself. So I actually have a couple other projects while I got everything out here I might work on. All right, let me get this painted up so we can put it together. Okay, so the vise project is finally done. I think it's going to work out good. I got it bolted down. No issues, everything lined up good. Getting the nut underneath here inside the tube was pretty easy. Looks good. So this is approximately the furthest out it's going to extend, and then of course we can slide in. We got a series of we've got a series of locking holes here where we can drop in a pin, secure it. Yeah, so I'm happy with it. And then let me flip it over here. So I left the end of the tube open, which I'm glad I did. Gives you a place to grab on and putting it in upside down. I welded this coupling on here. It's an output shaft coupling for a marine outdrive transmission, and this will give me a second spot for working on them. I have another. I think I showed this earlier. I have another bracket here I made that bolts to the workbench. But this is the lower unit shaft. Boom, there you go. So normally I'd have the whole bottom of the outdrive on there. Makes a nice way of supporting them while you're working on them. Alrighty, well there you go. We're going to call this one a wrap. I'm probably going to make some other accessories that go in these receiver mounts, and I want to put a couple other mounts in various strategic locations in the shop. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. Finally got the first one done, so there you go. Okay guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Oh yeah, so we also have a couple of extra holes put in here. So if you're trying to support something off the floor, you want to put the vise in sideways and hold. You know, right now I don't have no idea what I would be securing this way, but you know, if you had a long piece of steel or anything that you needed to clamp and hold in a vertical position, there's an option.